realized also that I didn't do intro or video before I did the Neighbours tour on Wednesday. Neighbours, for those who don't live in Australia or the UK, Neighbours is an Australian television soap opera, essentially. It's been going since 1985, originally on Channel 7 for about 2 years before being canned. Then Channel 10 picked it up and has been going ever since, essentially. And got to do sort of a tour of the Fremantle studio that does Neighbours, and where they film on the street. And on Wednesday when we were heading to the studio, we went past this one street where they're building some houses, and the tour guide explained that that's where Paul Robinson has had his housing development from a few storylines, I think earlier this year in 2019. So that was interesting. It's like the land used to be part of the Fremantle studio, but got bought by a housing development, and then Fremantle made some sort of agreement with them to use that housing development as part of storyline, Paul, and that. So that was really cool. And when we got to the actual studio entrance, which is essentially around the corner from this housing development, the tour guide explained that when they've removed the signs for the studio, that's been sort of an entrance into prison, because a couple of the characters, i.e. Paul and Gary, have been to prison in the last few years, so that's been used that way. They use as much of the studio land that they have for filming purposes for Neighbours. In front of the actual studio, they use as the hospital front of where Carl and David work. A little bit of the road around the front of the studio entrance is seen in certain shots when the characters have been going into the hospital or out of the hospital, etc. We went around the right side of the studio, and the guy pointed out one particular part when we were heading down the side of the studio was what they use as part of an entrance into the school for Erinsborough. In the actual building part for Fremantle, they have, I think, a lot of writing, the indoor scenes, like a number of interior houses, school, and that inside the actual studio. Further down the road we went down past this entrance to the school, we got to see Power Road, which has Amy's, the character Amy's workplace, the garage, and a couple of businesses across the road from Amy's workplace and the garage. So it's all on this one little street. It doesn't look big in real life, but on the show it sort of looks bigger. and on the same street is the tram that currently features in the show. It's a decommissioned tram, but they had to bid, the studio had to bid for this particular decommissioned tram to use it in the show. It's been converted into a little cafe thing for the show, but not properly functioning. But it's really cool to see that. And after we checked out that bit of the road, we then went back along the road we came down and went up this side road that came off this road we went down. And the tour guide, he pointed out this little shed where some cars were parked. He pointed out that was the character of Aaron Brennan's workout gym, and the cars that were near it, a few of them are used in the show, I believe. And then we got to see the backyard. We got to see Lassiter's complex, which includes sort of the front entrance to Lassiter's hotel, where Harold's, Rebecca's law firm, the post office, the waterhole, which is the bar, and the police station entrance. So that was all there, and that was really cool to see. It looks like it could be a functioning area in somewhere, but it looks really cool in how sort of realistic it looks. And then when near this particular Lassiter's complex was the entrance to the community centre, and a wall that's got Sonia Rebecca on it. For those who don't know, that's Jared Rebecca's now deceased wife. So there was a whole storyline on that, but it looks really cool. And then after that, we had also a look at the lake area as well, and the little bridge that goes across it. We saw that before going over to Lassiter's complex, but they're right near each other. We then had a look at a couple of other things. The Kennedy's backyard is not really attached to anything. You can get into it two ways, and it's not barricaded by anything, so that was kind of funny. Whereas three of the other yards are essentially locked up, and they're attached to a fake part of a house. We saw Trace Willis's backyard. She's Paul's current wife. So that was really cool. Yard we saw was David Tanaka and Aaron Brennan's backyard. That house has had a number of different owners over the last few years. But yeah, it's like David and Brennan currently own it and have a couple of other people who live with them. They've got a pool in that backyard, and then the last yard that was there was Sheila Canning's backyard, or the Canning backyard. That's got a spa in it, I believe, but we couldn't fully go into it because there were a couple of guys working on it, but we did get to have a peek into it, so that was really cool. And we also got to see Sonia's nursery. I think we saw that before going over to the houses, but it was really cool. And then I think after that, we were there for probably an hour or so before going around to the street they film on, which is Pine Oak Court, and in Melbourne, and they were getting ready to film on the street. They had Paul Robinson, it's like the guy who plays Paul Robinson, Stephen Dennis, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Paul Robinson's the bad guy, essentially, in the show, or Money Bags, as Sheila Canning likes to call him, and Annie Hall, who plays plain Jane Harris, I think, no, Jane Hall? I can't remember. I'm not that great with Jane. Yeah, it's Jane Hall, I think. Jane Hall's been sort of guest starring a couple of times in the last few years. She used to be on the show when she was younger. But yeah, we got to see that while them preparing to film and going over a couple of things before they started filming. And that sort of made us get late back to where we started the tour in the city, because we just sort of waited around for them to come out of one of the front of the houses they were at on the street to watch them do this. So, but yeah, it was really funny, and both the actors waved at us. I'm pretty sure a couple of the crew members were annoyed at us for trying to get a bit of a closer look, but yeah, so a few of the crew members were nice, but it was good overall anyway. Not long gotten out of seeing the first part of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Don't get me wrong, it's really nicely well done in terms of being a stage play and seeing how the adults and the characters would be 19 plus years into the future after the original books and series has ended. But being a Harry Potter fan, it's still not true canon. Definitely not true canon. But it's still really good in terms of how they've done it and transitioning from scene to scene and that sort of thing. It is so massively well done. And just seeing the Melbourne version. But yeah, it's done really well. Something to see if people get the chance, definitely. So I am back after seeing the second half of the play. A lot of the second half of the play was really good and really well done. Still struggling a little bit with the whole, it's not part of the whole Harry Potter canon, but not much I can do about that. But otherwise, overall, the play was really good. Cast, crew did really well with the play. A lot of effort was put into it to make the transitions from scene to scene really well done. And overall, I enjoyed the play, which was good. It's like, yeah, they just did a really well done job with putting the play on, which was good. It's just magical. It's one of those things you sort of need to see and experience to get that magic. I'm at Sydney at the moment, heading back home. They've done like 3 gate changes for the flight back home. First it was like 1C, then changed it to 1A, and then changed it to gate 19. It's like freaking cold winters. Normally pretty good, but not much I can do.